1045 The Team, your home for New York sports. Nice enough to join us right now from MassLive.com is Kevin Duffy. Kevin, you cover the Patriots. Is this Patriots team different in some way? It feels different from the outside looking into the other successful teams.
How so? What do you mean?
Well, it just we get the background that there's possibly a rift and the.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Is that are you already blowing off the rift? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're different in some ways than some of the recent teams they've had. I actually just don't think they're as good as some of the recent teams that they've had. I think so. This is my fourth year covering the team, which would be the third time they've gone to the Super Bowl in that span. I would say this is the weakest of those three Super Bowl teams. And the other team that didn't go to the Super Bowl in 2015 was really good, but they just got hammered by injury at the end of the season. So I think that even the rift aside and whatever is going on in the background there, I don't think that that's really affected their play on the field. I think when you're talking about the rift and any tension between the trio of Belichick, Kraft, and Brady, you're more so talking about what the future of the franchise is going to look like and how long each of those people will be with the Patriots. I think just in terms of on-field stuff, though, I mean, I wouldn't say they're vulnerable, but you guys watched the AFC title game, and Jacksonville isn't the greatest team ever, and they had every chance to win that game. So, I think that it's a very good Patriots team. They're all very good, but it's not a dominant team.
You say not one of the best teams you've seen, and I can see that too, and I can also see what you're saying, that their vulnerability may not be the thing, but are they lesser because of injury? Are they lesser because the talent that they normally find just hasn't worked out? Like, what is the key to that?
A little bit of both. I mean, every team has to deal with injury at some point. It's inevitable. It's just a matter of how lucky you can be with it. Like last year, for example, the Patriots really only had one impact guy land on IR. It was Rob Gronkowski, one of their best players, obviously, but there was only one player. This year, no Julian Edelman for the whole season, no Marcus Cannon. They're maybe their best offensive lineman at right tackle. Dante Hightower hardly plays and goes on IR after week 7. Probably maybe their best defensive player overall, certainly their best guy in the front 7. So they've really lost. They lost a lot of really probably their 3 of their top 5 or 6 players that they don't have at their disposal this year. And they also just, they've had some draft picks not work out, which is typical for most teams, I'd say. So I think that they took a little while to gel, especially on defense. They figured it out more so on defense in the last couple of weeks and months. And I don't think it's not a great front 7, but it's a front 7 that's become good enough to win a Super Bowl, and that's obviously why they only have one more game to go here.
There's 2 ties for this Patriot team to our region, Albany, New York, the capital region. One is the defensive coordinator, Matt Patricia. He played college football here at RPI. The next few weeks here, there's more rumors. Everyone's saying he's going to be the next head coach of the Detroit Lions. What type of impact has he had for this Patriots franchise as a coach during his tenure?
Yeah, I think it's going to be real interesting to see how he works out as a head coach. It's a good situation he's going to, and I think he's a guy that Bill Belichick really grew to respect and trust a lot. He's always been in a tough spot here in New England because when the defense isn't doing well, Matt Patricia is the guy who shoulders the blame on, among the media and on sports talk radio. And when the defense does well, it's like, well, Belichick's a genius. So it seems like in New England, at least, Matt Patricia never is the one that really gets the credit. But I can tell you that the players absolutely love him. They feel one of his best traits is the way that he can connect with players of all different backgrounds. And he's a guy who is really personable with his players. And clearly just from his educational background, he's a pretty smart guy. I'm not breaking any news here. So he's the guy that Belichick really respects and he trusts. And Matt Patricia's had a hand in this defense that now for 4 years in a row has held opponents below 20 points a game, which is a pretty incredible accomplishment. They're the only team in the league that has done that for each of the past 4 seasons.
Talking Patriots right now with MassLive.com's Kevin Duffy on 1045 The Team.
The other Albany connection is running back Dion Lewis. He has that fumble ruled on the field that maybe wasn't really a fumble. Dion Lewis's role going forward for Super Bowl 52, what can we expect from him?
It's a good question because he's by far the best running back on the team. It does not take long watching the Patriots to recognize that. And Belichick did bench him after that fumble, put him back in for the final series, and then Dion ripped off that long run to basically to seal the win. I don't know if it's hard to tell if he was benched exclusively because of the fumble or because they were playing from behind and James White plays in those passing situations. So we'll have to see, but I wouldn't imagine that should have any impact on his role in the Super Bowl, just because the stakes are way too high and you need to have your best players on the field, and Belichick is well aware that Dion Lewis is the best running back they have. So it would be pretty stupid, in my opinion, to sit somebody or decrease his reps because of something that happened 2 weeks ago with the Super Bowl at stake.
Kevin, last week the story was Brady's hand. This week it's Gronk's head. Do we have any insight on whether or not he'll be cleared from concussion protocol in time for the Super Bowl?
Tough to say. We were just at the practice field right now for the Pats' first practice of the week. Gronk was not out there. Pretty expected. He's got time. I mean, he's got 10 days until the Super Bowl, so that works out well for him. But it's just, we've gotten this question a lot, and I wish I could give better answers, but when you're dealing with a concussion, it's just the timetable is really different for everyone. It's really not like someone had a sprained ankle, that pretty much everyone heals from that and can play in, 2 to 3 weeks, whatever it is. A concussion, there's just a wide range of outcomes, and I think so Frontline did a study a couple of years ago where they studied a lot of the data involving concussions, and one thing they looked at was average return to play. So 49.5% of players who were diagnosed with a concussion did not miss a single game, so they cleared the protocol within a week. You had about 30% miss one game, and then you had about 20% missing multiple games. So, Gronkowski, because of this bye, if you look at the statistics, it would, I guess, make him statistically like an 80% chance that he would fall into, that he would play. I guess he would have to fall into the category of missing multiple games to miss the Super Bowl. So the odds look good for him, but you just never know. Stephon Gilmore had one earlier this year that was undiagnosed until the following week, and it kept him out in weeks 6, 7, and 8. So he missed 3 games because of a concussion that didn't even show immediate symptoms. So it's really tough to tell. And I think the only indicator we have is his practice participation. So right now he's not practicing. I think there will be a lot more concern if we get to Minnesota next week and he's still not on the practice field. I think that's what you got to look at.
And you bring up that concern there. For you, is it as simple as this? If Gronk plays in Super Bowl 52, the Patriots win, and if he doesn't play, the favorite now goes to the Eagles?
That's a good way to put it. I think I haven't watched a ton of Philly yet. Obviously saw the NFC title game, and I'm trying to go back and watch some of their games. I don't know. I get the early feeling for me is that I think the Patriots are going to win in a game that's not super, super tight like some of their past Super Bowls have been. I have my doubts about Nick Foles' ability to score with the Pats, because Philly's got a decent defense, but the Patriots are going to put up points, so you've got to be able to match them. And I just don't know if Foles and the Eagles are going to be able to do that. If you take Gronkowski out of the equation, it does make it a lot tougher, but you look at what they did against that Jacksonville defense, which to me is better than the Eagles defense, and they didn't have Gronk for most of that game, and Brady and Amendola shredded them the whole fourth quarter. So it would certainly make it a more even game. I don't know if I would pick the Eagles to win even with Gronk, even if Gronk missed the game. It just it would make it tough, though. I mean, they really would be down. No Gronk, no Edelman. They haven't really been in that position many times in the past couple of years. I think what we've decided this year is that they need one of those guys to win.
Kevin Duffy, MassLive.com, man, we appreciate you. I know that I can be annoying as a leader of Hate Rate Nation, and we appreciate you joining in anyway.
No, you didn't. I mean, you didn't say anything that was Patriot related. This was a pretty. You weren't hating on this conversation.
It's hard to hate on him right now because I wish they would just lose. Damn it, that's all. Just once in a while.
Well, you never know, but I don't know. I get the feeling that they've played all these down to the wire Super Bowls, and they got to play one eventually. That's not the best game ever, right? They got to play one non-competitive Super Bowl eventually.
That is a fair point, man. We appreciate your time, and if it's cool with you, we'll hit you up in the future.
All right, absolutely. Thanks for having me.